Hello, I'm Olivier from Slint, and in this short video we're gonna make a small GUI application with Rust and Slint. So let's make a new application. Let's call it calc. It's gonna be a small calculator, and we're gonna also use cargo add to add the Slint dependency because we're gonna use Slint. Then we're gonna open Visual Studio Code to edit this project. One thing we can do is to install the Slint extension. The Slint extension is using a language server protocol to add features like auto-completion and live preview to Slint language and files. So let's go back to our main.rs, and we have a main file, and we're gonna use the Slint macro. The Slint macro contains the Slint domain-specific language which describes the UI. So let's try it with a component. Let's call it app, which inherits a window. And in this component, we just have a text. Text, hello world. And what we see is that we have, here we have a show preview button. And this opens the window here, which is a preview. Let's move it here like this, and we can resize a bit the other windows so we have everything together. Add import, for example, I can import button from the standard widgets that are provided by Slint. So then I can just add a button. The button is a bit in the middle of everything, so let's put everything in a vertical. Let's use a vertical box. So then vertical box is like a vertical layout with padding. Yay. And now we have like a simple UI with a text and a button, and as we can see, we have auto completion here for all the properties that are possible. We also have a property tab which contains the Slint property, and an outline which contains both the Rust analyzer outline and the Slint analyzer outline. Because in this case, we have two language server protocol on the same file. So we have auto-completion in Slint and in Rust at the same time. Can we make this show the run window? We still need one line of code. So let's use app new and wrap, run and wrap. And now we can run this. Let's run this. Takes a bit of time to compile, but now we have the actual window here, which is the actual. So the style here is a bit different because this uses the native style and this uses the Fluent style, but they are otherwise the same. Now let's do something. When we press this button, we can have like a property counter, and we can add this property here in the thing. So let's put by default to 1. And when this button is clicked, we do counter plus equal 1. So this works in the live preview, but if we really want, we want to do something in Rust. So let's add a callback clicked, and this is gonna be an alias for our button dot clicked. So we just give a name here to the button, and we remove this button. We're just giving a name to the button, and that should be it. So now let's put the app in a variable, and we can app unclicked when this is clicked. So we're gonna use a weak pointer to the app, because the app is some kind of strong pointer, so we weak pointer that we can move into the closure, and we're gonna unwrap, so upgrade, unwrap this weak pointer and set let up equal set counter of, so this counter we need to make it public, so it's an input property, and up, so that get counter plus 2, in this case let's increment by 2. Okay, now let's run this thing, and now it should increase by 2 when we press counter, and this is done in Rust. Now, let's make something a bit more complicated than just a counter. Let's make maybe a little calculator. So let's remove this clicked callback here, and let's have not one button, but we can have many buttons. Let's put that in a grid. Grid layout, we can have some padding, some pixel, and some spacing, like 10 pixel, and then we have like a row of buttons, button 1, 2, 2, and 3 in one row, and then we'll have more rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 8. Oh, and then we need a last row for the 0. So here this text is a bit too much. Let's only show the counter, and let's put the call span of 3 so that it spans over 3 columns. Okay, so now we have like our little calculator. It doesn't do anything yet, but we can make it do something. First of all, let's consider that this is the default button, but what we want here, we want maybe some custom button. So let's not import this button. Let's create a new button. So it's like declare a component called button, and it would have a text and a property text. And the text property, so we have here the list of the property if we need them. The text property will be root the text. String. Okay, let's also have some background to it. So let's use a rectangle with a background. Some value here. Let's put it like some kind of blue, and let's make it a bit more pretty with a border radius, 4 pixel, and border width 2 pixel, and border color, it's gonna be the border radius. No, it's gonna be the border, it's gonna be the border color is gonna be background. So it's gonna be self the background, and it's gonna be a bit darker, like 20%. And we want to have some effects when it's clicked, so let's add a touch area, and this touch area, and then the background can depend on whether if it's pressed or not. Press. Then if it's pressed, it's going to be red, otherwise it's going to be blue. Yep, it works. And we can even have some hover effect. As hover, then it's going to be some, we're going to use this VS Code editor to change some kind of different shade of blue, maybe blue a bit more dark. Yeah. And we can even have easily an animation. Let's animate the background so that with a duration of 100 milliseconds, for example. And this is pretty, well, it's not super, but it's good enough. The padding here is a bit too much. Let's say 10 of padding and 5 of spacing. Yep. Then we can have some logic to that, so that the number here is set. So to do the logic, usually what we can do is to have a global component. Let's call it calculate logic, and we will have a callback button pressed, and this is gonna have been the string of the button. And when this is clicked, we're gonna use the calc logic button pressed with the text, to put the text. Okay, now we're gonna do something that it does something in the logic. So we have our week, and we have global calc logic on button pressed move, and there is the value of the button. And as before, we're gonna unwrap our week and set the value. We're gonna just use value, but this is a string, but value expects an integer, so we're just gonna parse that and unwrap, because it can only be, in our case, so it's not really proper, but that should, it's not really proper to just ignore to just unwrap the error here, but yeah, so it's called move. Yeah, okay. Set value, it's called counter, let's call it value. And yep, so now I can normally try this, and this is, yeah, okay, so now we see that this worked, but the size is very small because we didn't specify a minimum size to our button. So what we want is to specify a minimum size, so that like minimum height would be, for example, 30 pixels, and minimum width the same. So we have a better default size to it. And what happens is that let val equals this, and then we can set the value to the update value multiplied by 10 plus the value. That would be E32. Okay, let's try that. Yep, so let's add maybe some operations to it, maybe some simple operations. We can add a few buttons, for example, for a plus, minus, and multiply, divide. We can also add equal, and we're gonna move it to the second column. Okay, now we have like our little calculator here, and what happened here, we would need some state. What would we need in our state? Calc state. Maybe we need the previous value. Value, which would be E32. The next value, no, the current value, which would be E32 as well, and the operator, which is a Slint shared string. As now we can just use a string. And yeah, let's derive default for this so we can construct it. Let's put it in a RC. State equal RC new cell new of calc state default. Okay, so we need to import all of this. And in the logic, it can, if it is a number, so let's see if let, okay, if it is a number, not an wrap, then we do, okay, we need to borrow the state. Let's state mutably equal state.borrow mute, and then state.current value multiplied by 10 and plus val. Then we can put the value of the current value. Okay, let's try now this. Restart task. So this is still some error. Okay, std. And okay, so this should work now. Some unused value, but let's wait. And oh yes, so we still do not have implementation for the other operators. So let's do a match value as str. And what happens, for example, if it's an equal? Then, okay, so yeah, let's just consider that if current value equals equal, so if we press equal, we would do result. It really depends of state operator. So we're gonna else, then it's like it must be an operator, so the state dot operator equal value clone. And depending on the state operator, we're gonna do some operations. If we're gonna take the previous value, so for example if it's a plus, then we're gonna do state pre-value plus state current value. We're gonna test that a bunch of times for minus, for all those possible operations. We're gonna do this, divide it, and then the result, then the state pref value is gonna be the, then so first we're gonna show this value, then the state current value is gonna be 0, the state operator is gonna be, we're gonna reset that, so otherwise what would it be? Well, we will just keep the current value. Let's say that, let's say keep the current value if there was no previous operation. Or we actually do not do anything, so we'll just return. Then we set the value to the new value, the current value becomes 0, and pref value is the result. And when you press an operator, the pref value becomes the new value, current value, and so this is just some basic thing. It doesn't need to be complicated. That's not the purpose of our tutorial here. It's just to try out some things. So now let's say it should start at 0 though. Let's modify this anyway. So 5 plus 2 equal 7, and 7 minus 2 equal minus 2. So we did something wrong there. What did we do wrong? When we press equals, so when we press equal, we are gonna set it as the previous value, but now we're typing like 5 is the current value plus 2 equals 7. And now if we press minus, this is gonna reset the current value to 0. So, and the current value is 0. So yeah, the point was not to make a perfect calculator. There is a few bug fixes to do this, but this is outside of the scope of this tutorial. Here, what I can do is maybe to make this a bit more pretty. So I can have different color for different buttons, for example. So I will have a property brush background, it's an input property, and I'm gonna default it to this value. And then I can use the background. And I can use the background as well when it's hovered, just a bit darker by 10%. Yeah. And then those things can have a different background yellow, because their operator they can be yellow. Let's make it like this. And the equal sign can be in green, just so we can easily do. And instead of a plain color, we can also be creative and use a gradient of, I don't know, some value. I'm just putting some random stuff. It's completely ugly, but we can put back some blue value. Let's put some kind of bluish, more light. Yeah, no. Okay. So not super pretty, but a bit better. And yeah, so this little example shows how to create a small calculator in Rust and with Slint to do some simple UI. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. For more information, you can go on the website and check the documentations. And yeah, I hope you enjoy.